死んだは初めて俺に伝えている。
絶望の匂いだ。
面白いこと見せようか。ほら、こんなにガチンが多すぎて。
お父さん。
あかん。
ドナルド君はまだ死ぬ時じゃないでしょ。
アメリカ万歳ファイト。
絶対負けないよ。
何度スライドまで
ゼロ。だってまだサンキュー言ってないでしょ。一回も言ってください。
おい、仲良くしてね。この世界季節にいけるかな。昔グレートだった大きにまたグレートになるかも。あのさ、有名人なら誰かのマンコ掴んでいいさ。そう言い放せるで。
What's going on, everyone? Welcome into CobraCast 199. I am your host, Jeremy Prime, Mage IDOT of Unit 199. Happy to see all of you here on a Friday night, stream number 2, because I was out of town, so we got to make up, right? We got to make up time because everybody thought I was dead, and yet here I am. I did put sirens in the title, therefore, you know it's a very serious stream, and that means you should probably send me super chats. Because that's what the sirens represent. So sirens are in the chat and they're in the title. You know it's serious. Yes. Impacted Gnome says roll tide, roll tide. We got a big game tomorrow against Missouri. Alabama's had a lot of tough games lately, and they continue. Alabama's got a tough schedule this year. So we'll see what happens, but game is tomorrow, 11 a.m. Central kickoff. So, yeah, looking forward to it. But it should be a good one. John says, sirens mean grifting hard. You damn right. AOE2 Freak for 10 says, hail Jeremy and chat. Thank you, brother. Appreciate that. Ain't gay no more. For 2 says, I like women. I don't have that. I don't have that clip on StreamYards. I need to work on that. Little Jim Halo says, no Kings protest tomorrow and Antifa points lasers. Is that no Kings protest tomorrow? I didn't know about that. Jeremy Uso says, in this stream, we celebrate Columbus Day. Thank you. Good to be back, though. It does feel good to be back and rocking and rolling. And yeah, there's just more to talk about. But one of the main things we got to talk about, I think there's a good lead in to this right here, okay? This is going to upset a lot of people, okay? But Trump's doctors just released a letter regarding his comprehensive medical evaluation today and revealed that his cardiac age is 14 years younger than his chronological age. 6'3", 215 pounds, an absolute specimen, the most physically gifted human being on the planet. There's no one close. No one is close.
I just feel like a young man. I'm so young. I can't believe it. I'm the youngest person. I am a young, vibrant man. I look at Joe. I don't know about him. I don't know.
Macho man, yeah. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. He is the specimen. It's absolutely crazy. So, hang on. What is this right here? Someone just all right, a bug flew in here. It was aggravating the shit out of me. Think I got him. Come here, you bastard. Okay. All right. Think I got him. Fucker. Anyway, it wasn't a roach. It was some type of flying bug that came in from outside. So, piece of shit. I don't know if I got him or not. I have no idea. But either way, okay. Physical specimen, Donald J. Trump. I think what this means, I'm just going to speculate, okay? Trump 2028. Trump 2028. This tells us that Trump is ready to run in 2028. Are you ready? He's physically fit. He's the most physically fit human being on the planet. There it is right there. Trump 2028, baby. Let's freaking go. You love to see it. Let's see. We got that. Bubba Doom says, damn, do I watch Rambo or Jeremy? Rambo. Yeah. I would recommend watching Rambo. Rambo or me? I would watch Rambo. I would absolutely watch Rambo. I would not waste your time here at all. But thank you for the super chats. Tinhead says, you made me have to watch Timcast IRL for a week, and I'll never forgive you for it. Shame on you. I apologize, but that's why I'm here. I'm back. I'm not going anywhere. Mr. Wilson says, paying my grifter tax. Hail the IDOTs. Thank you. Appreciate that. Zinny Biscuit says, Jeremy has stink bugs. Guava Ball says, man, Jeremy, you are starting to sport that haircut that makes you look like you were born with a suspended license. Get out the shears. Hail the 199. No. Look, the hair will continue to grow. I'm trying to hide it, but it's impossible at this point. Like, I've tried to hide. I've always hid my hair pretty well, but my hair is growing out so much now I can't hide this shit. Bird Up says, young, vibrant man tax. JB username for 20 says, happy to see you were part of the first round of prisoner exchange. Let's see. Welcome back from those sandbox shithouse countries. Happy to be back. Happy to be back indeed. Thank you for the 20. Bubba Doom says, I'll wait. Love you both. No homo. I appreciate it, brother. I appreciate it. But yes, this is obviously good news for President Trump. Yeah, I mean, that's not going to make anybody on the left happy at all. Can I ask a question? What is going on with my governor, Ron DeSantis? He's getting cool, and I don't know why. Because he showed how uncool he was when he ran for president. He's been like talking about music, 80s and 90s music. He's retweeting about the Stone Cold Stunner. DeSantis, this is the level of energy you should have, first of all, you should have never ran against Trump, but this is the level of energy that you needed. So either way, he's cool now. He's cool. By the way, is the Scott Hall, all right, this Scott Hall stunner cell is the greatest stunner cell of all time, okay? We're going to slow-mo it. Okay, watch Scott Hall. Watch Scott Hall sell the Stone Cold Stunner. Right here, watch this. Boom! Look at that, dude. Oh my God, what a sell. Watch this. Watch this. Boom! What a sell, dude. Absolutely legendary. We love Scott Hall. Rest in peace, Scott Hall. We love Scott Hall. He is the best. But yeah, that was a hell of a sell right there. John freaking Murdoch for 50 says, hey, Jeremy, how long before you start sporting a man bun or a ponytail? How much to get you to do that? Hail to 199, Mod Lives Matter, Chat Lives Matter. Hail to all Mossad whale watchers everywhere. How much to get me to have a man bun or a ponytail? Listen, we'll talk about that next week. After I make my announcement on Friday Night Tights, we'll talk about some specifics, okay? Because I do have some stuff to pay for because I've been, funding a lot of things for Geeks and Gamers. So after my announcement on Friday Night Tights, we'll do a CobraCast and we'll talk about it, okay? So there you go. Alan says $500 super chat, and I'll sell my Switch too. Honestly, there's a lot of people that will probably appreciate that, Alan, but not the chat. on the Mario Kart streams. The chat would not appreciate that. The Fig is having a midlife mullet crisis. Hail the 199. Glad to see you back and hope you're doing well. I had no idea what to do with myself without CobraCast. I really appreciate that. Like, you guys know I don't like compliments per se, but knowing that people like missed CobraCast while I was away actually legitimately makes me feel good. So I do appreciate that. It means a lot. Terry for 20 says, glad you're back. Miss you more than I expected. Thank you. I appreciate that. You're a Bears fan, so that means Ryan would like you. So thank you so much. MAGA Cracker Mike says, bro, why are you not playing Battlefield? I mean, thanks for the smoke break, but get in this shit. I am. I'm going to be playing. I'm going to try to play this weekend while watching football. I may stream it, but I haven't even like installed it or anything, but I'm looking forward to it. Eric K says, how much ass did you have to sell to get the deals? What, Eric? What the hell does that mean? Okay, so we do have stuff to talk about. And in particular, I covered it earlier today, but a few people on Fox News have been covering the situation with Benny Johnson, and I wanted to play a couple of those clips because, as you guys know, we had a scary situation with Benny Johnson. Had a video that I covered that. It's over on D-Day Cobra 2. But in short, there was a crazed madman who threatened to, murder Benny Johnson and his entire family. And it's a very scary situation. So right here is kind of the gist of it. So here we go.
So breaking today, John, charges announced in an alleged plot to assassinate one of Charlie Kirk's friends and allies. Attorney General Pam Bondi revealing a man has been arrested after threatening violence against conservative commentator Benny Johnson and his family.
Correspondent Dana Marie McNichol reports. She's live for us in Miami. Dana Marie?
Good afternoon, John. That's right. AG Bondi announced a man is behind bars after he sent a letter to Benny Johnson threatening to kill him and his family.
He's a well-known media personality carrying a message very similar to Charlie's. The author of this letter made it very clear that he hated Benny because of his views, and he wanted Benny dead.
Johnson, with over 4 million followers on X, hosts a popular conservative podcast. He lives with his family in Tampa, but authorities traced the letter back to San Diego. This morning, the FBI arrested the man responsible in California. That's 69-year-old George Isabel Jr., who is in custody and charged federally with mailing threatening communications. Johnson spoke about the extremely gruesome details in the letter that prompted him to contact the Tampa police immediately. We do want to warn our viewers, his description is graphic.
They described in great detail how I would be killed in an open field, just like Charlie, how much blood would come out of my head and neck when it was blown off. This individual described orphaning my 4 beautiful children and widowing my wife.
And on the 1-month anniversary of Charlie Kirk's assassination today, Pam Bondi, she described what she says is a horrific cycle of political violence happening right now in our country.
Indeed. All right, Dana Marie McNichol on that for us. Thank you, John.
Sandra, at that announcement in Florida, Benny Johnson compared the threat against him and his family with the text scandal surrounding Democrat candidate Jay Jones in the Virginia Attorney General's race. Listen here.
You might want to say another left-wing radical, another extremist. And to that, I would like to direct your attention to the state of Virginia, where Democrats have nominated and are about to vote for the chief law enforcement officer in that state, a man who has done the exact same thing, an individual who's calling for the assassination by bullets of Republicans that he disagrees with.
I'm glad Benny's pointing a lot of this stuff out, and it's downright scary, and it's crazy that it has been 1 month since Charlie Kirk was assassinated. This is some of the video. Obviously, this doesn't show anything, but this is the day it happened right here.
Wow, look at that.
Beautiful.
3, 2, 1, smile. Awesome, guys. Thank you.
crazy. It's crazy that it's been a month. It doesn't even seem real. It really doesn't. I remember, when I watched that stream where I reacted to it, because when I went live, I had only seen the distant video. And it looked bad, but it was hard to really tell. But the distant video looked pretty bad. But then I was live when I saw the close-up video. And I wish I wouldn't have seen that video, not the close-up one. It was awful. I know most of you have seen it now. But when I saw that close-up video, I just was like, there's no way. There's no way he survives. And my goodness. And yeah, so here we are, a month removed from that horrible, horrible situation. And President Trump will be rewarding Charlie Kirk with the Presidential Medal of Freedom on what would have been his 32nd birthday in 4 days. So, yeah, this will be huge. So Charlie Kirk, Erica will be there during this. And what a powerful photo that is, man. What an absolutely powerful photo. Unbelievable. And by the way, I've seen a lot of the stuff that's been surrounding Turning Point USA. And listen, if there's one thing you can count on, it's that conservative commentators are going to make Charlie Kirk's assassination about them, because that's exactly what we're seeing right now. It's just conservative commentators are like, it is embarrassing to watch a lot of these people go down the rabbit hole of nonsense. I'm seeing it, like, I've even seen like Brandon Tatum and going at it with people. It's just, the whole thing is just absolutely crazy. In terms of like Candace Owens, like I said, man, I don't think Candace is crazy at all. I think Candace is very smart, and I think Candace knows exactly what she's doing, and she's very aware. No, I do not agree with Candace Owens, but I don't dismiss Candace as crazy. I know that Candace is a very, very smart and articulate person, and she is very aware of what she's doing. She is smart as hell. But seeing the pissing contest and all of that, I think it's just crazy. And that actually applies to, like, even like the Brandon Tatums of the world. I've been on Brandon Tatum's show like one time a long time ago. He has no idea who I am, but he's on that direction of like overly like pro-Israel. And it's just like, that's annoying. Just like the anti-Israel side is annoying. It's crazy, And like, I think that like Brandon Tatum was basically saying that Tucker Carlson should not be allowed at a Turning Point USA event. And then Mark Dice made a video essentially calling out Brandon Tatum. And then Brandon Tatum made a video calling out Mark Dice. And I'm like, good Lord, what is happening right now, man? This is crazy. So for Brandon Tatum to say that Tucker Carlson should not be allowed at a Turning Point USA event when Charlie Kirk himself had Tucker Carlson at Turning Point USA events is crazy. That is an insane take. And I was like, wow. So yeah, it's the whole situation is crazy. I've seen people accusing Turning Point USA of being behind it. I've seen people accusing Erica Kirk of being behind it. I'm like, you guys have lost the plot completely. But again, as I've said, the anti-Israel side has lost the plot a long time ago. And so seeing them go down that rabbit hole has been pretty funny. Babo Yogi for 20 says, seriously, next time you disappear to your gender-affirming surgery, you need to give the keys to CobraCast to Ryan and Jay with Jeremy as guest host. Really do it, Fig. Listen, I've already handed off daily to them for the most part. I can't make them do everything. Like I can't. I just need to do a better job. So ultimately, the problem was I had like a 25-hour drive, and I was just locked in on the drive. I was locked in, and I was driving slightly above the speed limit, slightly. And I was just locked in to get there, and to get back. So yeah, I know I should have streamed, but I didn't know if the signal was going to be bad or whatever. But I did. I don't know if you're watching right now, but I did meet up with a fellow content creator that showed me a super awesome setup of them, and it got some ideas in my head about, getting Starlink for my truck and all of that, because it would help. Like if I had Starlink for my truck, I could literally not ever have to worry about a signal issue. So, as much traveling as I do, that would help me out. Harley Dave for 20 says the internet was boring without you, Jeremy. I'll message you later about whether I can help with the new things for G&G. But now that you're talking about Benny, this feels really messed up. Man, I hear you. First of all, thank you, Harley. I appreciate it, man. It's just scary. It's scary that the situation has reached where it's at. But yeah. So for those that don't know, next week, a week from today on Friday Night Tights, I'm making several announcements on Friday Night Tights about the future of Geeks and Gamers. And it's just things that we have been cooking for a while. And I'm really excited about the next chapter for what we're doing. And it's one of hopefully many announcements that we will have over the next couple of months, but this one's a pretty big one, and I'm excited about it, and I'm excited to reveal it to everyone. So it's going to be awesome. So, will you finally be making videos? To be determined. You'll find out next week. MAGA Cracker Mike for 10 says nobody could convince me these targeted threats and attacks are not coordinated by huge financial political backers. They're putting hits out on people. This is exactly why I'm anonymous online. I totally understand that one, man. I totally understand that. Nandy for 5 gifted memberships. Thank you, brother. Appreciate it. Harley Dave says, let's see. Oh, the emoji. Yeah. Is American Sign Language for I love you. And these twat waffles can't even understand that. I know. So with, Erica Kirk doing this right here, I guess the anti-Israel crowd decided to turn this into something else that she was like, this is a symbol. It's like, what are you guys are so far in this rabbit hole of nonsense that I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? It's absolutely insane. It's crazy. MAGA Cracker Mike says also, I think X is currently broken. I don't know what Elon is doing, but leftists seem to be massively propped up against everyone's algorithm. Very disappointing. Yeah, I haven't been on Twitter that much lately. So, yeah, it's hook 'em horns. She's just a Texas fan. She's just a Texas Longhorns fan. That's all. Sullivan says the GOAT Senator John Kennedy has a new book out. He is the GOAT. He absolutely is. Ministry of Wrong Think for $9.99 too. $9.99 says back in 2017 after the election, does anyone remember the schizo? Let's see. Is it super chat about Hillary wearing purple literally every time she showed her face and how I said it's the mark of her color revolution? Well, just the other day, General Michael Flynn in an interview with MJ Truth Ultra, we're in the midst of a color revolution in the United States. The color is lavender and purple. I was right. So there we have it. I didn't know what SC meant, so I said super chat. So because I'm a YouTuber, but there you go. Ministry of Wrong Think, proven right. Proven right. You know who else was proven right? Ryan Kennel, proven right. Hayden Wayne, here it is, the proof that I changed my profile picture. I might change it back for daily on Monday just to spite Ryan. That needs to happen. Anytime you can piss Ryan off, just do it. Thank you, Ministry of Wrong Thing. Yeah, super chat. I got you. So anytime you can piss Ryan off, you got to do it. You got to do it. So thank you, Hayden Wayne. I appreciate it, brother. Hail to you. Okay, so look, there's this interesting video that I think we should watch. So I just saw it in my feed, and the title is How Trump Broke Late Night TV. Here it is right here. How Trump Broke Late Night TV. So I think we're going to check this out. This is, I'm pretty interested in this. It is a 26-minute video, but, you know, I think it's worth checking out. How Trump Broke Late Night TV. This is from Idea Theory. I don't know if the mods want to find a link to this right now, and check it out, and or at least drop the link and we'll pin it. So here we go. We're gonna watch this. Well, after I gotta catch up. Brian Stewart says, "You promised truck videos. You lied. Drop gifties." You're not wrong, Brian Stewart. You're not wrong. Guava Ball says, "Your hair is starting to look like Nick Cage in Con Air. Something's got to give big." Eric K says, "Use a rental, write off the rental and save the miles. Don't be silly and save your truck or car. Rentals are made for those trips." I hear you on that. Ministry of Ron thinks his announcement is Jeremy has finally bought the Cobra Commander chair. 199 LFG. Harley Davis says, quote, "Things that Jeremy says to do, quote, unquote, is still beyond me. What did you say we should do, Jeremy? Send super chats. That's what I said you should do. And it's to help Moist Critical. I'm just here to help, okay? All right, here we go."
No, it's really unbelievable. Remember that guy who used to host The Apprentice? I dreamed we elected him president. Yeah, no, I never imagined that we'd ever have a president like this, and I hope we don't ever have another president like this again.
Trump, just last week, he confirmed to the National Review that he is again considering a run in 2016.
Do it. Do it. Look at me. Do it. I will personally write you a campaign check now on behalf of this country, which does not want you to be president, but which badly wants you to run.
Friday, Donald Trump posted, "I absolutely love that Colbert got fired. His talent was even less than his ratings." Would an untalented man be able to compose the following satirical witticism? Go yourself.
If this morning you finally woke up from a coma, well, you might want to go back.
Colbert has no talent. I mean, I could take anybody here. I could go outside on the beautiful streets and pick up a couple of people that do just as well or better. They get higher ratings than he did. He's got no talent. Fallon has no talent. Kimmel has no talent. They're next. They're going to be going. I hear they're going to be going.
In 2014, when you'd come home from work, flip on the TV around 11:30 p.m., you'd probably see Jimmy Fallon playing some ridiculous game where celebrities have to guess songs while wearing giant headphones or something.
That's actually true. Do you remember? What was it? Remember when Jimmy Fallon and Justin Timberlake did like the history of rap? You remember that? That was awesome. That was cool as hell. Maybe that was on Saturday Night Live. I can't remember. But I think that was on Jimmy Fallon's show, if I'm not mistaken, right? It was Fallon and Timberlake did the history of rap, and it was so freaking cool, man. And it was entertaining. It was awesome. Was it SNL? I couldn't remember. But either way, like, it was entertainment, and it was cool.
Ridiculous game where celebrities have to guess songs while wearing giant headphones or something. David Letterman would be throwing stuff off the roof of his building. Conan O'Brien would be doing that weird string dance that makes absolutely no sense, but somehow works. This was late night television at its purest, harmless, goofy, politically neutered entertainment. I mean, sure, they'd take gentle shots at politicians, Obama's ears.
She talks about my ears a lot. That's an old standard, how big they are.
Bush's malapropisms.
George Bush is now so unpopular, he must defend his job against Russell Crowe.
Clinton's appetites.
All right, yeah, everybody, okay, all right, yeah.
I remember when Conan used to do this. It was great. This was funny. Making fun of politicians is never the problem, because these late night hosts have always made fun of politicians, and that is funny. The problem was that With Trump, they hyper-focused on Trump, and it became their sole focus. It's all they wanted to focus on was Trump, Trump, Trump. And it became unfunny, and it was clear what they were doing.
How's everybody?
But it was all fair game, all in good fun. The jokes landed because they weren't trying to destroy anyone. They were just trying to make you laugh before you went to sleep. Jay Leno, the king of this era, had a simple philosophy.
To me, I always like to humiliate and degrade both sides equally.
Yeah.
Johnny Carson before him
The
operated
legend.
on the same principle. Make fun of everyone equally. Keep it light, keep it broad, give America something to laugh about together, regardless of whether they voted red or blue.
Yes.
But something happened in the summer of 2015 that would shatter this delicate ecosystem forever. A reality TV star with a bad comb over rode down a golden escalator and announced he was running for president.
I am officially running for President of the United States.
And in that moment, though none of us knew it yet, late-night television began eating itself alive. Donald Trump became an obsession when he became a presidential candidate, a fixation, a white whale that would drive an entire industry of professional comedians completely, utterly, magnificently insane.
Damn
Now,
right.
the premise of this video is the claim that Trump changed late-night TV. But it's actually more than that. It's the story of how America's court jesters convinced themselves they were freedom fighters, how the people whose job was to help you laugh at the absurdity of politics decided instead to pick a side and wage war, how the industry built on bringing people together became a weapon for tearing them apart. And in trying to destroy Trump, these hosts ended up proving every single point he'd ever made about the media and Hollywood. They became the thing he said they were. And for some reason, they turned themselves into his greatest campaign advertisements.
This is a fantastic video. So I do have this video. Canman has the link to this video pinned. I would hope you would go over and check this video out. At least drop a like on the channel. Subscriber. I don't know this channel. It's the first video I've ever seen from them, but we're going to be reacting to it. And I definitely want to make sure that the person that is behind it gets proper credit. Now, the title is How Trump Broke Late Night TV. And what's interesting about this is that Trump, yes, he did break late night TV. He also broke cable news. He also broke Hollywood. He also broke the Democrats. He also broke the Republicans. He also broke big tech. He broke every single person or entity that went against him. This is how powerful Trump is. It is incredible. But for this, we're going to focus specifically on these late night clowns. And it does show you the groupthink that's within Hollywood. It shows you how they don't have the ability to think for themselves. They're all on the same team, and they all line up with the same leftist narrative. It's insane.
You probably won't believe this, but there actually was a time when Donald Trump was just a punchline, the flashy businessman with questionable taste who showed up on late night shows to promote whatever vanity project he was working on that week.
Are you going to go see Star Wars?
I might. Yeah.
You might.
I
Did
might.
you watch any of the other Star Wars movies?
I watched maybe one or two. I'm so busy. I don't have a lot of time for this, to be
I
honest.
got you.
But great stuff.
Great.
That's the most Trump shit ever. I might have seen one or two, but it's great. They're the greatest movies ever. Wait a minute, we gotta back that up.
Whatever vanity project he was working on that week.
Are you going to go see Star Wars?
I might. Yeah.
You might.
He said I might. No, you won't, Trump. I might. No, Trump's not going to see Star Wars.
Did you watch any of the other Star Wars movies?
I watched maybe one or two. I'm so busy. I don't have a lot of time for this, to be
I
honest.
got you.
But great stuff.
Great stuff. Okay.
George Lucas. I mean, no, the whole thing. I mean, the job he's done is.
In December 2015, candidate Trump appeared on Jimmy Kimmel Live. Hard to believe now, but it actually happened, and it was standard fare. You know, softball questions, a few gentle ribs about his hair, maybe a bit about his Twitter habits. And of course,
Wait a
Kimmel
minute.
got
You see Trump. Look at the
gentle
title.
ribs about his hair, maybe a bit about his
Winners aren't losers. Winners aren't losers.
Twitter habits. And of course, Kimmel got his ratings bump. Everyone went home happy. This was the old system working exactly as designed. Celebrities use late night to humanize themselves, hosts get content, audiences get entertained. But even then, you could sense something a little different in the air. The comedy writers had found something kinda irresistible about Trump. Not just his personality or his orange glow. I'm talking about his pure, undiluted absurdity. He really did look like a man who seemed engineered in a lab to be the perfect comedic target.
No, get those lights off. Off. Turn them off. They're too bright. Turn them off. Turn them off. Let's go. Ready? Turn off the lights.
And the problem for these people was that Trump understood this game better than anyone realized.
Yes.
He'd been playing it for decades. He knew that in America, being famous is more valuable than being respected, and being talked about is more valuable than being liked.
That is so perfect. He understands the game better than anyone playing it. And you're dealing with people that are playing the game that Trump is playing, but Trump is better than all of them. And one thing about celebrities and these nut jobs in Hollywood is that their ego is what carries them. And as long as you're part of the same little club, it's okay. But Donald Trump is more famous and more popular than every single person in Hollywood. None of them compete with him. He is the man. He is the biggest star, and he is the most famous person, and they can't touch him. He has more charisma than any of them, and it drives them crazy.
Every joke about his hair was free publicity. Every impression was free branding. The comedian.
Hang on. Yeah, we get it. You're obsessed with Trump. What would give you that idea? Do you know what's about to happen? We were just going to react to this content, and you had to come in here and run your fucking mouth. So now I'm going to get super chats. I'm going to grift off of you. All you had to do was shut the fuck up. That's all you had to do. Now we're going to have to take chat. Unless we get super chats, this guy is holding up the show. We can't react. Now we need dumbass tax. This guy, B with a billion, is a dumbass. We need dumbass tax in order to keep the video moving. And until we get dumbass tax, we can't. I don't make up the rules. I just have to follow them. Okay? So until we get some dumbass tax paid, I can't move forward. I'd like to. I wanted to watch the video. But now, here we are. Harley Dave has Beckinator, Brian Stewart, and Harley Dave. Yeah, we get it. You're obsessed with Trump. Shadow saying with the dumbass tax. Okay, we've got dumbass tax paid. Now we can continue on with the video. Thank you for the gifted membership. B with a billion tax. Phil with some dumbass tax here. Sally with some dumbass tax. Hail the 199. Soundwave Superior says dumbass tax, aka Beardo tax 199 for the grift. Damn it. B with a billion. B with a dumb ass. Bubba Doom, who's the fairy holding up the show? Slain Hope says, here's my dumbass tax. I'm overdue. Butter Framed in Gold says, oh shit, here we go again. John Murdoch with a 50 says dumbass tax. TJSTD. Okay. All right, there's enough taxes being paid. Can man, everybody, Dakota. Okay, there we go. Okay, we got enough. Okay, we're good. We got to get back to the video. You guys are insane. Harley Dave, have a spray of Troll Be Gone. right, let's continue the video.
Comedians thought they were mocking him, but Trump was using them. John Oliver was the first to sense the danger. For most of 2015, he'd avoided covering Trump on his show and actually said,
As I said at the top of the show, it took me almost 30 seconds to say the name Donald Trump. Do you care about him at all?
I couldn't give less of a
It's physically impossible.
but as Trump surged,
I did not know this. I actually didn't know this. Thank you, chat. You guys are the best. I didn't know that John Oliver said this, because what I remember from John Oliver, obviously from my intro and all of that, we remember John Oliver with the do it and all that. But I remember him making up the whole whatever Trump's like his family last name from like generations prior or something like that. Like I remember John Oliver becoming mega obsessed with President Trump, or Donald Trump at the time, candidate Trump. Oh man, Sam Sung for 50. Haven't seen you in a while. Jeremy is also obsessed with being a fig and grifting money from his chat, yet we still watch for some odd reason. Hail Sam Sung. Let's freaking go. Act Natural says obligatory dumbass tax. I've been overdue with my taxes. Grift tax. Delta Entertainment, keep running the video. Get him out of here. There we go. Delta Entertainment, hail to you, brother. All right, let's continue on. Let's back this up. John Oliver.
I couldn't.
Most of 2015, Trump was using them. John Oliver was the first to sense the danger. For most of 2015, he'd avoided covering Trump on his show and actually said,
As I said at the top of the show, it took me almost 30 seconds to say the name Donald Trump. Do you care about him at all?
I couldn't give less of a It's physically impossible.
but as Trump surged in the GOP primaries, Oliver, like the true progressive warrior he was, felt he had to act. In February 2016, he devoted 22 minutes to dismantling Trump. The centerpiece was a bit about Trump's family name, originally being Drumpf.
The name Trump was not always his family's name. One biographer found that a prescient ancestor had changed it from, and this is true, Drumpf. Yeah.
I remember this. I remember people falling for this. I remember people running with this. People were obsessed with it. Like, you know, his name is actually Drumpf. And I'm like, do you think this is actually going to work? And they did. They believed that this would work. They believed that this would take Trump down. They absolutely did. It was crazy.
Yes.
Oliver created fake campaign merchandise, launched a website, even built a Chrome extension that would replace Trump with Drumpf across the internet.
And if you go to donaldjtrump.com, which we own, you can download a Drumpfinator Chrome extension, which will replace the word Trump with Drumpf wherever it appears in your browser. And you can also buy these Make Donald Drumpf Again hats, which we are selling at cost.
And it went viral. Tens of
He was so proud of himself. He was so incredibly proud. Unreal, dude. Unreal. Real quick, let me get a couple of these right here. So this is 2-part for 50. Says, so Pope Zombie Stomp says, hey, Jay, I'm going on my 13th Alzheimer's charity walk tomorrow. I'm going to use your platform to pimp my charity page to spread awareness about this terrible disease. It not only takes your future, but your past as well. I lost my father-in-law 3 years ago, and after 15-year struggle, he was a sweet man that passed from early onset Alzheimer's. God bless and hold the ones you love close. Donate if you can for a cure. Brother, that's awesome that you're doing that. I've had experience with Alzheimer's in my family, and so I do understand how it is. It's tough, man. I was pretty young when I was exposed to a family member that had it, and I didn't understand it because I was just young. It was my grandmother, one of my grandmothers, and she was so confused all the time, and I was so young, and there were times where I would understand it, and other times where I just didn't. I didn't get her the way she would respond to things and how she would forget things and not understand things. It was it was very difficult to witness. And, looking back on it now, I understand it completely. But at the time, I just was, I didn't fully get it. And, I've been exposed to people since then, and it is tough. It really is tough. So prayers up to you and your family, man. That's a great cause. And I will follow back up. So shoot me an email, jeremy@geeksandgamers.com.
Of thousands of parody hats sold, Oliver foolishly thought he was delivering a killing blow. Instead, he was writing the playbook for what late night would become. Not just comedy about politics, but comedy as politics. Not just making fun of Trump, but actively campaigning against him.
If you are thinking of voting for Donald Trump, the charismatic guy promising to make America great again, stop and take a moment to imagine how you would feel if you just met a guy named Donald Trump. A litigious serial liar.
The one thing you need to know about the entertainment industry is that absolutely nothing drives ratings like hatred. Absolutely nothing generates more clicks, more shares, more passionate engagement than giving people permission to feel righteously angry about someone they already hate. And
negativity drives views. I would know nothing about that as a YouTuber. I would know nothing about it because I personally have only focused on positive content my entire YouTube career. I have never focused on negativity. I've never put thumbnails out that, distorted what someone looked. I've never done that. So that's news to me. That's news to me. But in reference to what he's saying, like, obviously he's right. And that's not isolated to YouTube. That's not isolated to anything. Like, negativity does get more people interested, more people watching, drama, shit like that. That's part of it. The difference here is that the negativity around Trump was not real negativity. It was fake negativity. It was lies that were being created in order to try and manipulate a United States presidential election. It was a coordinated effort from the mainstream media, from Hollywood, and from big tech. That's the difference here. They tried to invent, someone said manufactured. Exactly, Pete. They manufactured this negative hate campaign against Donald Trump, a person that they historically loved and embraced and never had a problem with him. They actually, not only did they not have a problem with him, they fully embraced him because he was a dynamic personality and he was a ratings machine. And the moment that he stood up there and said, we need to build a wall, we need to take care of illegal immigration, we need to take our country back, he went against the grain. So they decided to then lie and manipulate and manufacture, as Pete said, a campaign against against Donald Trump at the time, candidate Trump. And that has evolved into over half the country now. Their hatred has moved into, now they hate over half the country.
Trump was comedy on crack. Pure, uncut, addictive content that made audiences feel smart and superior and morally justified all at the same time. Jokes about Trump always got applause, the comedic equivalent of a drug that made everyone feel good about themselves while destroying their capacity for literally any nuance. But the moment the old system died came in September 2016, when Jimmy Fallon made a fatal mistake. He treated Trump like a normal human being.
Do you want to tell me a little bit about yourself?
Well, I'm an extraordinarily handsome person. I have a beautiful head of hair.
I noticed that, yeah.
Trump appeared on The Tonight Show during the general election campaign. You have to understand that Fallon was actually the least political among all the late night show hosts. Weird, I know. But he gave Trump the kind of goofy interview that had made him famous. They talked about Trump's sleep habits, his Twitter obsessions, his diet. And then, in what seemed like harmless physical comedy, Fallon asked if he could mess up Trump's hair.
Can I mess your hair up?
Trump agreed. Fallon reached over and playfully tousled that famous comb over while the audience laughed. It should have been nothing. A silly moment in a silly interview on a show built entirely around silly moments, but the reaction was swift, and it was—
The fact that Trump let him do that and gave him probably the single most viral moment he's ever had, and he decided to turn on Trump, is absolutely crazy. It's absolutely crazy. But it just shows you that it doesn't matter how much you do for these people. They will always turn on you when the powers that be tell them to turn on you. It's disgusting. But it didn't matter because it backfired already. Because all you need to do is let Trump be Trump, and he will win everyone over. He wins the room. He wins the crowd. He wins the voters. He will always win if you just let Trump be Trump, because there's no one that can command a room. There's no one that can command a moment like him. I've said this before he became president, before he even ran for president. I always said Donald Trump is the most important person in any room he walks into. That's just the aura that he has. That's just the presence he has. It doesn't matter. Donald Trump walks in a room. Donald Trump is the most important person in that room. He takes all of the energy and the focus and the attention.
Was merciless. Variety declared that Fallon had lost, quote, the last shred of his credibility. People accused him of, quote, normalizing a proto-fascist candidate. His own industry turned on him like a pack of wolves. They sent the message that there would be no neutrality in the Trump era. You were either part of the resistance or you were part of the problem. Obviously, Fallon tried to defend himself. He claimed he was just doing comedy, but it was too late. The mob had spoken. His ratings actually began to tank, while Stephen Colbert, who had transformed his show into a nightly Trump hate fest, shot to #1. By 2018, he was expressing regret, saying he'd do it differently because of the backlash, an emotional toll it had on him. And a very important lesson was learned across the industry. Hate sells and neutrality dies. If you wanted to survive in late night, you better pick the right side, or in this case, the left side, and you better pick it loudly.
And that's why I've always been a person that I will never care what any mob mentality ever has for me. I'll only meme on you, because when you start telling me or other people how they need to think, I immediately reject whatever you're saying. Immediately, because only weak-minded people feel the need to control what other people think and believe. And whenever I see that happening, I immediately reject that mindset and want to meme on it and make fun of it every single time. So that's what led me to the path of, like, it's what led me on the path of, like, going against, identity politics in Hollywood and all of that, because the moment that I started getting called a racist and a sexist for having a movie opinion, and I was like, what are we doing? When did we get to this point? I remember watching the prequels. There was a huge argument surrounding the prequels, but the argument was about Star Wars, not identity politics. I remember the discussion around Man of Steel and Batman vs. Superman when they came out, and it was a legitimate discussion about Batman and Superman. When The Last Jedi dropped, suddenly the conversation moved from, about Star Wars and moved into, oh, well, you're a racist if you don't like this movie. You're a sexist. You're intimidated by women. And I'm like, what the fuck is happening? Where did this happen? And so I immediately looked at that and I'm like, okay, you're trying to stop conversation now. You're trying to stop conversation, which is a huge problem. And that, kind of led me down the path of, like, rejecting social justice, identity politics, yada, yada, yada. So anyway.
Sarah, I had to come back. Sometimes when you're president, you have to make sacrifices, so I skipped the back nine.
There's a reason they call it jumping the shark and not jumping the politician. But apparently nobody told late-night TV hosts that the second one is way more embarrassing. By early 2017, something unprecedented had happened in the history of American entertainment. Late-night comedy hosts had appointed themselves as leaders of the political opposition. This is important because these weren't comedians who occasionally commented on politics or entertainers who happened to have opinions. These were full-time, professional, nightly critics of the sitting president of the United States. Stephen Colbert led the charge, and his transformation was actually nothing short of remarkable. When he'd taken over The Late Show in 2015, he'd struggled in the ratings and actually trailed Jimmy Fallon by massive margins. Audiences seemed unsure what to make of Colbert without his Comedy Central character. Turns out he was funnier as a fake conservative than as a real liberal.
As we've heard this morning, America's farms are presently far too dependent on immigrant labor to pick our fruits and vegetables. Now, the obvious answer is for all of us to stop eating fruits and vegetables.
But Trump changed everything. Colbert retooled his entire show around a simple premise. Every night for roughly 12 minutes, he would systematically dismantle whatever Trump had done that day. But would he do it through balanced analysis or thoughtful critique? Of course not. He'd do it through pure, concentrated mockery solely designed to make Trump look as stupid and dangerous as possible. And unfortunately, it worked. By February 2017...
I don't know if it worked, but I'll see where this guy's going with this to know if I agree with that, because he's probably making a smaller point within the bigger point. Because ultimately, I mean, the bigger point is that it never worked. It never worked at all. But there could have been a moment, and again, he maybe talking about the negativity that went against Trump that this helped create. So let's hear what he has to say.
Colbert had beaten Fallon in total viewers for the first time. By the end of the 2016 to 2017 television season, he was the undisputed king of late night. Some analysts attributed his success to, quote, greater interest in politicized comedy under the Trump administration. Translation: people wanted to be told that their hatred was justified, and Colbert was happy to oblige. And in May 2017, he crossed the line. See, earlier that day, Trump had appeared on CBS's Face the Nation and dismissed host John Dickerson as fake news in the middle of an interview.
You know, it's very funny when the fake media goes out, you know, which we call the mainstream media, which sometimes I must say is you. But when the
you
fake...
mean me personally, or...
your show. I love your show. I call it Deface the Nation.
Essentially calling Colbert's own colleague a liar on his own network. And so, naturally, Colbert did what any mature professional would do. He completely lost his mind on live television. Defending Dickerson, Colbert unleashed a barrage of schoolyard insults that would have embarrassed a middle schooler.
John Dickerson is a fair-minded journalist and one of the most competent people who will ever walk into your office, and you treat him like that? I love your presidency. I call it disgrace the nation. You're the bloatus. You're the glutton with the button. You're a regular Gorge Washington. You're the presidents, but you're turning into a real pricktator.
Clever wordplay that surely took the writing staff hours to craft, but the pièce de résistance was his declaration that Trump's mouth was only good for one thing.
In fact, the only thing your mouth is good for is being Vladimir Putin's holster.
But CBS didn't fire him. They didn't even reprimand him. His ratings even went up. Again, this sent a message. There was no penalty for going too far against Trump, only rewards, and it created a feedback loop that would define the next 4 years of late night television. Each host tried to outdo the others in their contempt for Trump. Each monologue had to be angrier than the last. Each joke had to cut deeper. Their progressive audience demanded escalation, and the hosts were happy to provide it. Seth Meyers transformed his show into something called a closer look. Long segments that were more like opposition research than comedy.
As President Trump brags about his handling of the hurricane in Puerto Rico, it's becoming clearer than ever that there are no adults around Trump to control his worst impulses. For more on this, it's time for a closer look.
Night after night, Myers would spend 10 to 15 minutes fact-checking Trump's statements.
What's funny about this era is now hearing how Colbert, you know, his ratings jumped when he started to go anti-Trump. And knowing that the rest of them now were looking at him and going, oh, okay, his ratings are going up, so that means we have to go anti-Trump. And what they did is they all tried to compete with each other by going anti-Trump. And they, in a way, they kind of created all of this resentment towards themselves in that moment, which is beautiful to see. It's absolutely beautiful that they became their own worst enemy. Because where are all of those leftists that were watching your show then? Where are they at? They don't exist anymore. They don't care. They never cared in the first place. You know what they're doing? Well, you know what they were doing last week? Those people that were watching your show, they were screaming Free Palestine last week. Do you know what they're doing tonight? They're trying to find the next thing to be fake offended over because, you know, Trump has peace in the Middle East, at least temporarily. I don't think it's going to be long-term peace. But those same people, Well, they were talking about Ukraine, and then they moved on from Ukraine, and then it was free Palestine. Now it's going to be free something else, because they don't actually care about anything. They're just always looking for something to be fake offended over.
Analyzing his policies and explaining why everything the president did was not just wrong, but dangerous. Myers had essentially turned late night into a 12:30 a.m. version of the Rachel Maddow show, with all the graphics clips and the kind of detailed policy analysis you'd expect from a comedian.
He literally has 2 charts full of information right next to him. All he had to do was look left or right, but instead he decided to ramble off the top of his head like a 5th grader who just saw a mall fountain.
But see, Jimmy Kimmel took a different approach. When his newborn son needed heart surgery in May 2017, Kimmel delivered a moving monologue about the experience, but he didn't stop there. He pivoted seamlessly into a passionate plea to preserve Obamacare and argued that no parent should have to choose between their child's life and their financial security.
Wow.
People called the monologue, quote, heartfelt and powerful. It also went viral, generated millions of views and a ton of media coverage. And this is when Kimmel and most progressives had discovered something very interesting. People would accept almost any political message if it was wrapped in genuine emotion. So he kept going. 4 months later, Republican senators introduced the Graham-Cassidy healthcare bill. Kimmel saw this as a personal betrayal. When Cassidy's actual bill failed to meet Kimmel's newly minted legislative standards, our tearful late-night host accused a sitting U.S. senator of lying to his face.
Jimmy Kimmel is taking on the architect of the new Republican healthcare bill.
And this guy, Bill Cassidy, just lied right to my face.
Last spring, Kimmel shared the emotional story of his infant son's heart condition
And launched a week-long jihad against the legislation, complete with policy breakdowns that would make C-SPAN jealous. When the Graham-Cassidy bill eventually died, political reporters, with apparently nothing better to write about, credited Jimmy Kimmel as a key factor in its defeat. A late-night host had successfully killed a piece of federal legislation.
Graham-Cassidy healthcare bill, a bill I've been speaking out against all week. We got news today. It shall not pass.
But I don't think any moment better captured the complete transformation of late night than Samantha Bee's explosion.
Yeah, I wasn't even like, I have tuned Jimmy Kimmel out for so long that and again, credit to this channel. Again, this channel, this video is pinned in the YouTube live chat right now, so you can go over there and show them some love for sure. Again, I don't know this channel, but I am, reacting to their content, and they got like 14,000 subscribers. So but this video is very good and it's very well made. And what I'm saying though is, like, I didn't really know a lot of this stuff that Jimmy Kimmel had done because I've tuned Jimmy Kimmel out for so long that I see this and I'm just like, yeah, this guy really is a horrible person. Like, I briefly remember the thing about him using his son as basically a try to like a piece to like go after, conservatives and Trump over. I kind of remember that. By the way, Tree Bear has a pay your dumbass tax meme right there. So there it is, Tree Bear and the pay your dumbass tax. So Tree Bear never misses. He never misses.
On May 30,
Against all week. We got news today. It shall not pass.
But I don't think any moment better captured the complete transformation of late night than Samantha Bee's explosion on May 30th, 2018.
Okay, I'm gonna be honest. I don't know who she is. I see a lot of you complaining about her, but I don't know who she is. I have no idea. Like, I think I've seen her, but I don't know who she is.
Discussing Trump's immigration policies during a segment, she showed us a photo that Ivanka Trump had posted of herself with her young child.
Ivanka Trump, who works at the White House, chose to post the second most oblivious tweet we've seen this week.
Bee's response to that photo was just vile. She used the C word on cable television.
You know, Ivanka, that's a beautiful photo of you and your child, but let me just say, one mother to another, do something about your dad's immigration practices, you feckless
Directed at the president's daughter for the crime of posting a photo with her child while her father implemented policies that Samantha Bee disagreed with, even
Nothing explains the leftist mindset better than that. Ivanka Trump posts a picture of her and her child. Democrats decide to take that as a moment to attack her because of her dad. Insane.
Even liberals who despise.
So she's on the Daily Show. Is that it? That's why I don't know who this chick is, because I can't tell you the last time I actually watched the Daily Show.
Trump were not very comfortable with the attack, but B's response to those attacks was even more interesting. She apologized for the language, but not for the sentiment. You know, she was sorry for.
I never saw that. You're surprised. If I did see it, I don't remember it. I don't know who Samantha Bee is. I've probably seen her. I've probably seen her in montages of leftists melting down over Trump, but specifically like her name attached with any network or anything, I had no idea who she was. But I've probably seen her. I might have even reacted to her like in random clips, but I didn't know who she was.
For saying the C word, but not for calling the president's daughter feckless. She was sorry for the word choice, but not for the hatred behind it.
It is a word I have used on the show many times, hoping to reclaim it. This time, I used it as an insult. I crossed the line, I regret it, and I do apologize for that. I hate that this distracted from more important issues. I should have known that a potty-mouthed insult would be inherently more interesting to them than juvenile immigration policy.
Her show was canceled 4 years later. But the whole ordeal made a lot of us realize what had really happened to late night television. These hosts had become personally invested in destroying Trump and everyone around him. It really wasn't about policy differences or political disagreements anymore. It was about moral warfare, good versus evil, us versus them. They'd convinced themselves they were saving democracy. In reality, they were destroying the last shared cultural space where Americans could laugh together.
And you called the best person for the job. Trust me, I know things are, as the locals say, despacito.
By 2018, late night television had settled into a comfortable rhythm of nightly Trump hatred. The ratings were good, the social media engagement was through the roof, and the hosts were convinced they were performing a vital public service. They were the resistance, they were truth tellers, they were comedy's answer to fascism. There was just one problem. They were also incredibly boring. When every monologue is about how Trump is terrible, every punchline becomes pretty predictable. When every
100%, he's right about that. That's truly it, man. I mean, I can't watch these guys, any of them, and take anything that they say seriously, because their entire identity is anti-Trump. That's their entire existence. Everything they stand for. So everything they say is irrelevant and meaningless to me. It means absolutely nothing.
Show has the same political angle, audiences start to notice that they're not really getting comedy anymore. They're getting partisan therapy sessions with occasional laugh lines. The format had become as repetitive as a propaganda broadcast, just with better production values. But the hosts couldn't stop. They were addicted to the drug of righteous anger, and their progressives' audiences were addicted to having their political prejudices validated. It was actually a perfect storm of mutual enabling that kept everyone high while slowly poisoning the entire medium of late-night comedy. The first crack in the facade came from an unexpected source. On a June 2018 episode of his show, Maher was discussing Trump's strong economy when he said something weird.
Because I think one way you get rid of Trump is a crashing economy. Yeah. So please, bring on the recession. Yeah. Sorry if that hurts people, but it's either root for a recession or you lose your democracy.
And there it was, laid bare, a millionaire comedian sitting in his HBO studio.
And this is the thing with Maher. Like, Maher truly has been broken by Trump. Maher has tried to, like, every time Maher is like tries to understand or try to get there because he sees how crazy the left is, he can't fully get there. He can't allow himself to get there. It's amazing how this works. It's amazing how Donald Trump, one man, has broken so many people's brains, their ability to think logically, their ability to think reasonably. They can't do it. They cannot do it. TDS, again, I'll repeat what I've said 1,000 times. TDS is the single most dangerous condition in the entire world. There is no known cure for it outside of you yourself realizing it and getting better. But until you yourself can see reality for what it is, there is no cure for it. And I would argue it's probably like a 95% of people that get it, keep it. There's a few exceptions to the rule. There's a few that have seen beyond their TDS, but most cannot get beyond it. What's up, Quarterblack Garrett? I see you. Hail, brother.
Openly hoping that the economy crashes, and he obviously didn't care if this would create hardship on millions of working Americans, all because he didn't like their president. And his audience, other millionaires and coastal elites, applauded. Maher has since tried to reform himself and has had some common sense takes in the past year, but this was important to point out because you can't even say it's comedy. This wasn't even politics. This was pure, undiluted class warfare dressed up as entertainment. The mask had slipped completely. These hosts finally abandoned the facade of speaking for ordinary Americans and showed us they were speaking down to them.
Yes.
They weren't trying.
Yes. This is a very good video. I don't know what other videos this channel has, Idea Theory, but I'm going to see. You know what? I'm going to drop him a sub. This is good. This is a very, very, very good video. Very well thought out. And I love the points. And the talking down to people, that is exactly what has happened to the entertainment industry. They think they're better than you.
Trying to unite the country like they claimed for decades. They were trying to punish half of it for voting wrong. They'd become exactly what Trump said they were, elitist entertainers who despised the same people who made their careers possible, and slowly the audience began to notice. Jimmy Kimmel was the first to admit the cost in a
Dude, look at that beak. Look at that beak. Are you kidding me? Holy shit.
They were elitist entertainers who despised the same people who made their careers possible, and slowly the audience
Thing has its own area code. Wow.
began to notice. Jimmy Kimmel was the first to admit the cost. In a November 2022 interview, he said that he'd lost half of his fan base due to his relentless political content.
I have lost half of my fan, maybe more than that. I mean, when 10 years ago, among like Republicans, I was the most popular talk show host.
ABC executives had expressed concern about alienating conservative viewers, but Kimmel simply didn't care. He couldn't. It was a pretty remarkable thing to admit. Kimmel was explicitly choosing ideology over entertainment. He'd rather preach to the choir than tell jokes that everyone could enjoy. He'd rather be right than be funny. And of course, the consequences were obviously predictable. By 2022, the most watched late night show in America wasn't Stephen Colbert or Jimmy Kimmel or any of the traditional network hosts. It was Greg Gutfeld on Fox News, a conservative comedian who'd stepped into the massive void these hosts had created by abandoning half their potential audience. The late night establishment had become so uniformly left-wing, so hostile to conservative viewers, that they'd literally driven their own audience to a cable news network for comedy.
Yes.
They created their own competition by forgetting the first rule of entertainment. Give the people what they want, not what you think they need. But the real reckoning was still to come. Because while these hosts had been playing resistance fighter, the corporate executives who actually owned their shows had been watching the numbers. And the numbers were starting to tell a very different story than the Twitter metrics and viral clips suggested. Trump had been out of office in 2023, but he was still living rent-free in these comedians' heads. Almost every monologue was still about him. Every punchline was still at his expense. They'd become so obsessed with their white whale that they couldn't talk about anything else, and even liberal audiences were getting tired of it. In July 2025, CBS made a weird announcement. The Late Show with Stephen Colbert would be canceled in 2026.
Oh, this is so good. This journey of watching Colbert get his ratings bump when he started to hate on Donald Trump and lie about Donald Trump and he thought that he was doing something, and all of these clowns surrounded themselves with him and his mindset of hating Trump, and they all tried to hate Trump. And now here we are, all this time later, done. It's beautiful.
Ending its run after 33 years. Now, the news came just days after Colbert had delivered an on-air tirade against his own network for settling a Trump lawsuit.
This kind of complicated financial settlement with a sitting government official has a technical name in legal circles. It's big fat bribe.
And within the week, CBS pulled the plug. Officially, they cited, quote, a challenging financial landscape and the intent to retire the format. But some people argued that Colbert's unrelenting Trump obsession had finally made him more trouble than he was worth. But it didn't matter. Around the same time, ABC briefly suspended Jimmy Kimmel after that weird monologue about Charlie Kirk. Suddenly, these fearless truth-tellers discovered they weren't as untouchable as they'd believed. All that righteous anger, all those brave stands against Trump, it all evaporated the moment their corporate masters decided they were becoming liability rather than assets. These hosts had spent years positioning themselves as brave resistors, speaking truth to power. But when actual power, corporate power, financial power, the power that actually mattered in their industry, pushed back, they folded immediately. They'd been play acting as revolutionaries while being subsidized by the system they claimed to be fighting. And Trump, the man they'd spent a decade trying to destroy, was back in the White House, stronger than ever.
Let's go!
All their jokes, all their outrage, all their resistance theater had accomplished exactly nothing except proving his points about media bias and elite contempt for ordinary people. They tried to break Trump and broke themselves instead. And in their rush to become political activists, these hosts forgot that laughter is supposed to bring people together, not tear them apart. It's supposed to comfort the disturbed and disturb the comfortable.
He should have been, honestly, he should have been fired for this moment alone. This is truly one of the worst moments in television history right here. This vaccine song and dance is one of the low points in human history. Truly, like, this will live on. Like, your legacy, Stephen Colbert, is this. You will be remembered for this and this alone. This is your legacy right here. Just like Hassan Piker, his legacy will be that of a dog abuser. That's what Hassan Piker will be known for the rest of his entire existence and then beyond. Stephen Colbert will be known as this vaccine salesman right here.
Together, not tear them apart. It's supposed to comfort the disturbed and disturb the comfortable, not comfort the comfortable while disturbing everyone else. Late night television was built on a simple compact. We'll make fun of everyone in power so that everyone can laugh together. Politicians come and go, but the jokes remain universal. The moment these hosts decided that one politician was too dangerous to joke about fairly, too evil to treat.
Well, but here's what I would say. Like, Trump is clearly the reason. He exposed these people for what they are. But truly what he did, like, Trump didn't really do anything. He forced the truth to be exposed. That's essentially what he did. This was always the case with these people. These people, these Hollywood freaks, these elitist assholes, this is who they always were, but they were able to hide it. They were able to mask it. Donald Trump forced them to show the world who they really were, because he was the one guy that would never back down to their threats and to their bullshit, because he was too rich, he was too famous, and he was too much of a badass to care. He's the one guy that didn't need them. And by not needing them, he exposed them because they could not control him.
As merely human, they broke that compact. They stopped being comedians and became propagandists. Trump didn't actually break late night TV. These hosts broke it themselves the moment they decided that their political opinions were...
I did not know he said that. That's literally what I just said.
Too evil to treat as merely human. They broke that compact. They stopped being comedians and became propagandists. Trump didn't actually break late night TV. These hosts broke it themselves the moment they decided that their political opinions were more important than their professional obligations. They forgot that in a democracy, your job isn't to tell people how to think. It's to help them laugh at the absurdity of it all. The joke in the end was on them. And unlike their monologues, that one was actually funny.
What a damn good video. Is that it? Looks like that's it. So this is Idea Theory. I would urge you to, let's see, what other stuff has he got here? So yeah, he's got quite a few videos over here. Oh man, like he's got some good videos. How Kathleen Kennedy broke Star Wars? What? How Kathleen Kennedy broke Star Wars? Does this guy have a Twitter account? He's from Nigeria? I love black people. It's a good channel though. It's a very good channel. So hail to Idea Theory. So there you go. Chat, please make sure you go show some love to that channel. And we got the real smile bit for $100. Says, how dare you criticize the Emmy Award winner Stephen Colbert vaccine sequence? I demand you play the dancing sequence immediately. The rules are, if the super chat says it, unless someone sends a bigger super chat, I have to play it. These are the rules. I don't make up the rules. So Stephen Colbert vaccine. Doesn't it have copyrighted music? We're probably gonna find out. I may just drop $101 myself, just so I don't want to listen to this shit. I may just drop 101 myself. Alex in the Mountains says, please, Mossad Wales, save us. You can type faster than that, and you know it says real smile bit. Yes! Harley Dave saved us! We are safe. We are safe. Harley Dave saved us. I had it pulled up, too. I had it pulled up. So, Real Smile Bit knows what he's doing. Real Smile Bit's helping me grift. We got Harley Dave with a proper 199. Real Smile Bit, I owe you because you helped me grift. You mad lad. You didn't have to do that. Thank you, Real Smile Bit. I appreciate it. Here's the thing, okay? Real Smile Bit. How about I force Tuesday night's main event panel to watch the vaccine video? None of them are watching right now, so they won't know. So on Tuesday night's main event, I will make them watch the vaccine video. Is that a fair deal, Real Smile Bit? Is that a fair deal, Smile Bit? I think that's a good deal. I think that will be good. Can you imagine the things that Mike is going to say if I force them to watch that? Laughing Man says, do it. And of course, yes, Ben will be present as well. So this is going to be, listen, that's a fair deal. Hell yeah. Let's go. So I think I owe all of you an apology. I don't know how many of you, like I'm sure a lot of you watched Tuesday night's main event. I want to apologize for last Tuesday night. Something that I'm not proud of happened on Tuesday night's main event, and I want to address it. So obviously, as the leader, as the owner, as the creative, person behind Geeks and Gamers, one thing that I find to be completely unacceptable is when we have a show that runs incredibly smoothly without chaos. And we actually did that this Tuesday for 3 hours. We had a really good show that ran really smoothly, and there was not a lot of chaos. And for that, I am sorry. And because of that, I have decided to punish Fear the Beardo and others on that panel because Ben is coming back now next Tuesday. So I refuse to allow my channel to be tainted with a well-run show, finishing on time, all of that. I refuse. So yeah, there you have it. Bird Up for $100 says, play the vaccine every time Beardo misreads a super chat. Oh my goodness. That's going to be a bad, or main event's going to be a bad episode next week. Yikes. I like it, Bird Up. I like it a lot. That's going to be, that's going to fit. Harley Dave says, I accept this. Wow. We got a lot to catch up on here. Bubba Doom says Kimmel equals spelled like ant, but it ain't. What? Yay Herb says, did you see the Mighty Queef talking about Ghosts of Yote controversy? And Asmongold responded saying, people judged based on the side that they're on, and he's tired of it. I feel something both of them has done themselves. I didn't, so I think I have Mighty Keith muted on Twitter, along with about 500 other people that just annoy me. So I didn't see that. So that guy, I just don't pay attention to him. So, but I'll check it out. I mean, I've seen a lot of the Ghost of Yote stuff going around for sure. YouTube is run by Marxist for 5 says Jeremy should go to Ryan's stylist and have them do something with his hair. Well, the problem is that, I mean, truly, like, so my hair, I actually, like, I'm not trying to, like, I don't care. But like, I'm just being real. Like, I actually have like really insane healthy hair that I don't take care of at all. I don't put product in my hair. I use $2 shampoo. Like, I like, my idea of shampoo is give me like a 3-in-1 conditioner from the dollar store, you know, shampoo plus conditioner bullshit. And I'm good. Like, I don't give a fuck. So, I probably, because my hair is growing out so much now, I should probably do something about this, because it's really fucking crazy right now. But either way, Philip Johnson says, I love you. It means, or the I love you symbol says means long live rock and roll. Corny chat, but I'm sick of BS. Ronnie James, Dio defined it, and that's good enough for me. Screw people saying satanic symbol. Eric K says Jeremy is looking like Mr. Is it Filch from Harry Potter? Ministry of Wrong Things says, if you need more proof on how great Trump's peace deal is, MSNBC is literally trying to claim the deal is actually Biden's plan. No, seriously. Doesn't surprise me at all. Beckinator says, sigh, fine. This Harley Dave with my Trump obsession. This is when I was grifting from that hater. And now we have dumbass tax. Shadow Sand says, take the dumbass tax. Got that one earlier. Harley A says, I watched maybe 1 or 2, but it's great stuff. This was earlier. I think that was Trump's comments about Star Wars. Bird Up says, late night TV died when Letterman left. The last good new host was Craig Ferguson. Bubba Doom says, all right, y'all, watch old clips of Johnny Carson and Don Rickles. You'll thank me. Hell, just clips of Carson. I miss him. Johnny Carson was amazing. Jared Armstrong says his favorite Bible verse is still my favorite. Mandy says that TJ STD, that Jeremy STD. Harley Dave says Trump is a New Yorker. Most people have no idea what that means, but Trump dials it up to 11. Yes, he does. Beastie Man says glazing donuts time. Benjamin says Trump, President Trump. Brian Stewart says B with a billion, small PP. Brian Young says B with a billion, tax. Phil says dumbass tax here. Sally says dumbass tax, hell 199. Soundwave Superior says dumbass tax, aka Beardo 199 for the grift. I think I got all these. Yeah, I got these. Slain Hope says, here's my dumbass tax. I got that one. John Murdoch, dumbass tax. I got that one. Nikki Noel says taxes. This whole tax meme is great. I'm loving it. And I gotta give Mike full credit, which I don't like doing. Jacoby says, the things, wait, what is it? I keep forgetting. TJSTD, support, F that shit. Things that Jeremy says, is that it? Sean Living Life says, paying dumb donkey tax. Can Man says, glaze tax paid in full. Dakota says, is the dumbass tax for him or both of you? Okay, let's be clear. Okay? Let's be clear. I don't. Dumbass tax is not for me. I get retard tax. Okay? So if you're going to watch this, you should probably be paying retard tax, and the retard tax is for me. Not dumbass tax. Dumbass is like, that's like Olive Garden level. You know, like I'm not on that level. I'm retard tax. All right. Double cheeseburger from McDonald's. That's me. Dumbass tax is not. That's like a whole different level. That's like Olive Garden, fancy, stupid person. You know what I'm saying? Democracy Manifest says, is it G. Otis Trump 2028? William Wilson with $2. Slain Hope with a gift of membership. Thank you. Godzilla's Greaser says one AOC tax coming up. JPS is some dumbass tax. IDOT tax. Jesse MacArthur says, I'm all for IDOT tax, not I'm all for idiot tax, not an IDOT tax. Okay, so I want to give a few teasers for next Friday on Friday Night Tights. You might be seeing some stuff with IDOT. You might be seeing us worked out a new deal for our merch. You might be seeing some stuff about, you know, websites. You might see some of that. I'm just saying, just, you know, it's going to be awesome. Fantastic Knox says, dumbass tax here. Have it. Thank you. Samsung with that 50. Thank you. Act Natural says the obligatory dumbass tax. Jesse MacArthur with 5 gifted memberships. Thank you. Delta Entertainment says, keep running the video. Get him out of here. Thank you, brother. Harley Dave says, retard tax. There it is. See? That's it right there. And yeah, back to you for a minute with the Alzheimer's charity walk tomorrow, man. I wish you nothing but the best. It's a very, very worthy cause. You know, Alzheimer's is a very, very difficult thing when you have a family member that is struggling with it. It's really tough. I hope many of you have never had to experience it, but you probably have. And it truly is it's truly bad. So nothing but positivity and prayers for you, brother. Aminti says, positive Jeremy. Solo made money. Raylos are hot, and bless Naughty Dog. Oh, okay. Solo made money. Raylos are hot, and bless Naughty Dog. It just doesn't roll off the tongue. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. Not even close. The only reason that these ass hats articulate anything is because they have script writers. That is very true. Something I don't have. The left thinks they're the Patriots, but in reality, their solidus, their tiny bit of control makes them think they're the chess master. Thank you for the 5. I'm in the middle of school when Trump was elected, but I was never paid attention to politics. But my junior and senior year was when I started to notice all the lies and manipulation they pushed on us. Yeah, I mean, everybody has a different path to, you know, getting, like I saw someone when I was bringing up The Last Jedi, and somebody was like, I'm glad you got there, then it took me longer. Look, I wasn't the first. Like the Disney Star Wars was a disaster even before I found out, you know, and A lot of people saw it during The Force Awakens. I did not. It took me multiple viewings of The Last Jedi to realize what was going on because I was wrapped up in being a fan. Because historically, I've never wanted to go into movies wanting to hate any of the stuff that I loved. It just wasn't how I operated. And now, yeah, I absolutely go into stuff thinking I'm going to hate it because that's the precedent that Hollywood has set for me. So when I go into anything, like earlier on Friday Night Tights, we were talking about, looking forward to stuff. And I'm like, right now, I mean, I haven't seen, like, I don't have a list of movies in front of me, but there are genuinely only right now off the top of my head, there are 2 movies that I am genuinely excited for, but I still am cautious about them. I am genuinely excited for The Odyssey because I'm a huge Christopher Nolan fan. I have issues with the casting for sure, but Nolan's track record gives me, at least I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. But I have concerns, and I know a lot of people have concerns, and that's totally fine. And the Super Mario Galaxy movie, I'm absolutely excited about that. But am I worried about what direction they could go? Absolutely, I am. Outside of that, I don't know of anything else that I'm genuinely excited for right now from Hollywood. I have no idea. Yeah, I mean, that's what they have done. They have done this. They have created this. Zelda, that's right. The Zelda movie could be promising as well. Yeah. And I'm sure there's more, but like that's just off the top of my head. Let's see. I got that one. Bull Bear says, here's $10 for the actual content. Look at that. Thank you. I appreciate that. Stephen Colbert, just like Bill Gates, Stephen King, and Mark Cuban, look like lesbian grandmas. Don't forget Olbermann. Don't forget Olbermann. Again, thank you, Bird Up. This is evil, and I like it. I'm going to download the vaccine video. So on Tuesday night's main event, if Beardo messes up Super Chats, there it is. Okay? I don't make the rules. Super Chats do. So you can't complain to me if it happens. Mod Lives Matter. Happy Jessica. Look at there. Harley Dave. Contributor tax. Harley Dave is on it tonight. Mike Zero Source says, who's Craven? That would be Beardo. There it is. Hey, Jeremy, I sent you a Twitter DM under the same name earlier this week. Just wanted to ask if you saw it. I know you've been traveling, so no worries if you haven't. I don't recognize that name, but I will check it out. I have not been on Twitter that much this week because I have been traveling and driving a lot. So I will see if I can find it, though. Harley Dave says, "Weetard tax." Look at there. Yee Herb says, the anti-Israel crowd are getting insane. I had a guy argue Israel could have been behind the assassination, said Candace was a good journalist and never claimed Israel killed Kirk. It's just denial. Again, man, like the anti-Israel crowd, I mean, they Kanye on freaking InfoWars, that picture. But the anti-Israel crowd reminds me much of a leftist type. They have a leftist mindset where they need you to believe exactly what they believe. And if you don't, they will label you and throw accusations towards you and all of that. And that's why it does make me kind of think like something like that just doesn't happen overnight as quickly as this has happened. And it does make me look and go, what's actually going on here? Why has this anti-Israel movement picked up so much steam in the past several years? Something like that is not organic. And the anti-Israel crowd is always accusing everyone else of being paid by Israel, even though I know I'm not, and I know most people that get accused of it aren't. I know some people are, especially politicians, and it makes me go like, well, who else in the Middle East could be interested in pushing that type of narrative? Who has money that could be paying massive influencers to be running with this narrative, creating other people to be pushing this narrative based on absolutely nothing? Interesting, huh? It's an interesting theory. So yeah. Makes you think, huh? Makes you think. Makes you wonder. But hey, it's just a theory I got, Keck Lord says that Be With a Billion is a Jeremy Fig plant psyop. Ha, I wish. Ministry of Wrong Thing says, you're obsessed with Trump. Gives off, I got to go to Red Lobster and complain about them just having seafood. Ort says, grift tax. Dark Chaz becomes a new member. Thank you. Bria says, fuck, I've been overdue on my taxes. Rogue Thought says, held hostage by a dumbass. Here's ransom. Vault 95 says, dumbass Jeremy was alive the whole time. Me. Yeah, a lot of people were wondering what was going on with me. So I need to do a better job of communicating. I just still don't think that people care enough that, but I guess I should communicate better. Eric K says, this identifies as a straight in 2000 dumbass tax. Bird Up says, Beardo reading my super chat about F-16 fighting Falcon tax. Delona with a $5. Thank you. Dark Chaz says, dumber as tax for the fig. I do love that this lurker tax thing has evolved. Mike should be proud. Mike should be very proud. W. Porter says, I'm only subscribed because Jeremy is obsessed with Trump. Yeah, like imagine coming into my stream of all people, okay, and accusing me of being obsessed with Trump. I mean, imagine coming into my stream and saying you're obsessed with Donald Trump. Where would you get this idea that I'm obsessed with Donald Trump? Like, what planet do you live on where you think I'm obsessed with Donald Trump? This is absolutely, this is what I'm talking about. It's like the anti-Israel crowd. They just make shit up. Like somebody comes in here and he's like, you're obsessed with Trump. And I'm like, what are you basing that off of? Name one thing that would lend this idea that I'm obsessed with Trump. It's just insane. Crazy. But hey, internet gonna internet, right? Internet gonna internet. Jason Becker says, hi, Jeremy. My super chat is free. Thank you, 199. The chat. Ambiguously gay Jer. The mods, Happy Jessica, pork chop sandwiches, Beardo, Fat, Hail Jade. And again, this is just me saying it. Whatever people think of it is fine. It's my theory. I have it on good authority that President Trump did listen to this, and this is how he was able to establish peace in the Middle East. I floated this idea like a few days before I left town. You remember because you were watching, but what did I say? I said, if you truly want peace in the Middle East, what do? You create a Buc-ee's in the Middle East. If you create a Buc-ee's in the Middle East, you will get peace immediately. Now, I don't know if Trump actually signed a deal to have a Buc-ee's created in the Middle East. But if that's the case, we may have long-term peace. Now, the reason I bring that up is because I did stop at Buc-ee's a lot on my trip up north. And, dude, they have a pulled pork sandwich, and it's just perfect, man. It's just perfect. This pulled pork sandwich at Buc-ee's. Seriously. It will truly change your life. Chicken tenders and fries, too. Oh, it's so freaking good. So good. Sly Rice is paying dumbass tax because it's one of those things that Jeremy says or whatever. I kind of figured this one out. Ben Hardwick with $2. Thank you. Drump 3PO with a 199. Harley Dave says Jeremy is very positive. Mechanism Studios says in November at Retro Toy Con in Greenville, South Carolina, they're having the original cast of Thundercats and Silverhawks there. I met Jay there last year. Dude, Thundercats and Silverhawks, awesome. Slane Hope says Alzheimer's is brutal. I was also young when my grandma had it, and I treated it like a joke. Now I want to go back and kick the piss out of my younger self. I relate with that one, brother. Dark Red Knight says no eyebrow tax. Jim P says pit words are retard libtards. We are positive. Olympian Product says Jeremy took off a lot of time at the same time as Tim Pool. Coincidence? I think not. Expect Jeremy to appear on Timcast IRL very soon. Hell, the 199. Never going to happen. Zach Attack says Seth Meyers is one of the most unfunny people I've ever seen. I tried to laugh, but I found out I couldn't even smile. Disinfected scientist says Colbert has always been propaganda, always. Yay Herb says Donald Trump 2016 versus 2020 versus 2024. I mean, I don't think there's any doubt. I mean, 2016 Trump was probably more entertaining, but 2024 is better at what he does by a mile. 2016 Trump was more entertaining, though. Not by a lot, because 2024 Trump is still entertaining as hell. Or I guess 2025 Trump. But 2025 Trump is just, he's just better at being who he needs to be, because he's learned a lot more. Spirium with the 199 super sticker. Thank you. Benjamin says, for the dumbass tax. Wait, did I get this approved by U.S. Congress? Hector says, dumbass tax. Jim L says, dumbass tax. Roll Tide. Roll Tide. Got to beat Missouri tomorrow. I think it's going to be a tough game against Missouri. I'm a little worried. Don't even worry about it. It says he got that super sniffer 5,000. Derry Murphy says, Jeremy, let's watch Star Wars 1 now. Solid Felix says, thanks, Vic, for letting us know to skip next Tuesday night's main event. Eric K says, what show was running smoothly? Main event. It was a disaster. I was embarrassed. Eric K says, Jeremy has the mods muted on all platforms. Bubba Doom says, C-U-N-T, Jeremy, spell it like ant, but it ain't. Rob says, Jeremy, have you seen the trans-Mexican clip from the meme? Therefore, I am maybe the best troll of the year. Maybe? I mean, I think I follow that account. Hayden Wayne says, I can help you with the hair advice, Jeremy. I've been growing mine out for years, and women love it. Yeah, but my hair is all effed up, so it's a disaster. Zwani says, damn, I just became a member today and thought I got all my taxes paid. Here's your dumbass tax. Also, the Beardo is not allowed to run Tuesday's main event tax. All right, that's good. Beardo not allowed to run Tuesday night's main event tax. That is really good. Philip Johnson says, wrong symbol, doofus. Look closely. I am a dumbass. So Lapco says Jeremy's actually losing his hair, but he wears pants, so we don't notice. Soundwave Superior says, make Mike wear his shark suit on Tuesday night's main event 199. Harley Dave with the 199 super sticker. Thank you. Slain Hope says that double cheeseburger is plain, right? Yes. Dakota says weetard tax. Harley Dave with a 99-cent super sticker. Harley Dave with a 199 says, I am unexcited. Yay Herb says, there's a YouTube channel that does funny animated shorts. It's called The AI Berry Show. It reminds me of classic South Park. Zach Attack says, Keith Olbermann is still recovering from the body slam from Matt Walsh. Corey Wilson says, Razor Fist said the anti-Israel thing was probably started by Chinese bots to sow division and flip the country blue. I actually do believe that the anti-Israel thing is something that it's not what it seems. And it's so it is so crazy online. The anti-Israel movement is so huge right now that it can't be organic. It can't. Like, the people that are pushing it are being paid big time by somebody. I firmly agree with that. Like, because I've tried to ignore it for so long, but I see it in my chat all the time. I see people running with the narratives that these clowns that are running with this narrative are pushing. And I'm like, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. You really don't know. You really don't know what the fuck you're talking about. And so, and you know, when the leaders of your movement are the leaders of your movement and you're still part of that movement and you don't understand the problem with your movement, then I can't help you. Like, the people that are the leaders of your movement represent your beliefs 100%. And if you want your movement to be taken seriously, have better leadership. And the anti-Israel movement has terrible fucking leadership. 100%. Bottom line, that's who runs the narrative. That's who represents your movement. And they're all trash. Beckinator Places saying you're not paid by Israel is exactly something someone paid by Israel would say. Aaron James says, boosted the Discord channel to next level. Hope users enjoy the unlocked features. Reading that is what? Reading this makes him stay longer. All right, I respect that. Phil McCracken says, can you end all streams with JD Advanced? I don't have it downloaded, but I can download it. Yay Herb says, for the Trump supporter tax. Hey, I like that. Yay Herb with 5, get the memberships. Linko Kenobi for 50 says, hey, Jeremy, I sent you a Twitter message. When you get a chance, check it out. Anyways, have a good night. Hail the 199. Let's freaking go. Harley Dave with a 99-cent super sticker. Thank you. Curtis D of Montana says, hey, Jeremy in the 199. I am Ryan level drunk tonight. 199 for life. Fuck Jimmy Kimmel and Stephen Colbert. Zach Attack says, anti-Israel derangement syndrome. Just call it IDS for short. Eric K says, Lamal Jeremy pulled pork in the Middle East. Yay Herb says, as someone who has been watching you, Jeremy, for years, since like 2017, it's wild learning you support Trump. Thought you were a Bernie bro. I was never a Bernie bro. Although I did think that Bernie had a legitimate movement on his hands. And I mean, I didn't flat out hate Bernie Sanders during the 2016 election until he cucked to Hillary, because how my path went was I didn't think Trump was going to win the nomination. So I hated everybody in the Republican side, but I figured the establishment was going to win. I figured it was going to be Jeb or Marco or somebody like that. I did not think Trump would get the nomination. I just felt like as the Republican side got smaller, I felt like it was going to be more difficult for Trump to win. And so I looked at everything and I was like, well, if I'm looking at everything and if Trump is out, I would probably support Bernie over anybody that's left on the Republican side or the Democratic side because he had a legitimate movement. But Trump ultimately won the nomination, so that made that an irrelevant point. So then Bernie showed how much of a true coward he was when he cucked to Hillary. And he showed that he never believed in his movement to begin with. And Bernie Sanders showed to be truly probably the biggest coward in the entire either Democrat or Republican side, actually. Because yeah, so anyway, but no, I was never a Bernie bro at all. And Aaron Adams says that Gato Tax, he sucks and played MK8 again because Mario Kart World sucks. Okay, hang on a minute. Gato Tax, he sucks and play MK8 again. Mario Kart World sucks. I mean, Mario Kart World doesn't suck, but I do appreciate the Gato Tax. Zach Tax says benology is my least favorite subject to study. Slane Hope says I'm a dumbass who had Alzheimer's walk again. Lapco says I'm confused. This is CobraCast. I thought that TJSTD stood for that's just STD. Also, if a conspiracy is based on Jew spending money, I have questions. Wait, what? I don't understand what you're saying there. Harley Dave says your suffering is glorious. I try. Vault 95 says Dan needs to do a cover of JE Advanced for you. That's not a bad idea at all. Not a bad idea. America Man says when the leaders of your movement are the leaders of your movement. That was a Kamala tier, bro. Well, no, I mean, I was trying not to say their names, but I mean, when Candace Owens and what's his name, Ian Carroll, and all of these clowns, when they're the leaders of your movement sucks. Your movement sucks bad. So that's really the credibility right there. But I hear what you're saying. The way I did say it was stupid. Dan Vicious with a link to YouTube. I can't click it on this list that I'm looking at. Z Hines says, that was a traumatizing time. I was only in mind to late teens suffocating in the political landscape at times. God bless the mental survivors. Thank you, Z Highness. But let's see here. Hayden Wayne says, yes, chat. Hearing Jeremy talk about Bernie should just confirm to you he knows nothing about politics. He just likes Trump. If he knew Bernie was a commie, he is a comedy too. If he knew Bernie was a commie, it may be different, but he doesn't. Well, I do know Bernie is a commie, but I also knew it then, but I also know that the Republican Party It wasn't necessarily about Bernie, though. It was about that it was a movement of young people that were challenging the system. And ultimately, I am an anti-system type of person. That's truly what it comes down to. So there's a lot more nuance than it. See, this is the problem with people that don't have any ability to think outside of what's right in front of them. It's not about Bernie. It's about an anti-system movement. That's what I was attracted to, because I truly hate the Democratic Party and I truly hated the Republican Party. I hate both parties. I hate the system, and I hate that the system is with a bunch of bought and paid for people. So under the assumption that Donald Trump couldn't be the nominee, which I was under the assumption that the Republican Party would in some way stop him, looking at who was left, Jeb Bush. I wasn't supporting Jeb Bush because I truly hate the Bush family, because I think the Bush family is full of warmongers and criminals. I fucking hate them passionately. And the other option is Hillary Clinton. So when your option is Bush or Clinton, I'm absolutely going to go with a person that seems to be the most political outsider in the equation, because it's about a movement to break the system, not so much about one man, but it was about this movement of young people that were challenging the system. And yet Bernie cucked, because that's all Bernie ever was. But ultimately, Donald Trump won, so it doesn't really matter. So yes, there's a ton of nuance in it, and some people can't see beyond what's right in front of them. But that definitely was my viewpoint on it as well, because fuck the Republicans and fuck the Democrats. And that's always been my stance on it. And I was never going to be a libertarian, because libertarians are the gayest people in politics, because they have no traction whatsoever. Now, if libertarians actually could learn to get some traction and actually make an impact, that's a different story. But libertarians can't win. Libertarians can't even be relevant enough to show up to win. And then the moment that Donald Trump embraces them, they boo Trump out of the building, showing that they have no ability to actually win. And that's the problem with libertarians. They're fucking retarded. They don't understand how to win. The moment Donald Trump showed up to the Libertarian National Convention and literally told them what they wanted to hear, by the way, by freeing that Ross guy, they booed him. And it showed you these people will never, ever, ever win anything in life. Zero ability to ever be successful. You're dealing with a system of the most corrupt people in the world. The Democrat and the Republican system. Donald Trump understands how to get there. Donald Trump understands how to win. MAGA understands how to win. And love him or hate him, Bernie Sanders created a system and a movement that is far more relevant than the libertarians have ever even come close to doing. Love it or hate it, Bernie Sanders' movement far more influential than any libertarian movement will ever be. And that's just the truth of it. Vol95 says, Dan needs, oh, I got that one. Yay Herb says, I was being sarcastic and I just wanted to call you a Bernie bro. I know you like Trump. It's as obvious as water being wet. My Israel's conspiracy is that they push for more insane anti-Israel rhetoric to discredit it and push people away. True or not, it would be funny if the one thing Israel is actually behind is Israel bad. I don't think so. I understand it's you say conspiracy theory, but I mean, if you look up the Middle East and if you look up how it's, how it's structured and who is the powerful in the Middle East versus who's not the powerful, and why the people that are not powerful in the countries that aren't powerful, it's a short list of people that are probably behind the anti-Israel stuff, and how rapid it's been in the past few years. John for 10 says, I went away for 30 minutes and you're still talking. You earned this. See you at MegaCon, or is it CobraCon? Haha. Hell yeah. Let's see here. Harley Dave says, yes, get angry. Are you just pulling my strings now? I felt like the Ron Paul revolution was bigger. No. And now you got Rand Paul, who's just a fucking clown. Rand Paul is such a loser. Like, what an absolute loser Rand Paul has turned out to be. Like, what a pathetic loser. Rand Paul, about as bad as Jeb Bush. John Wayne for 20 says, idea for grifting your hair at the next meetup. Let the women braid and highlight your hair. Humiliating for you? Yes. Grifting opportunity for you? Also yes. Extremely entertaining for all of us? Abso-fucking-lutely. Yeah. I hear you on that. Listen, the meetup is like March is when MegaCon is. I don't know if I can keep my hair that long. I don't know. We'll see. I'm listening. I'm always listening. That's a good opportunity right there. He's like Mitt Romney. Yeah, Romney. Mitt Romney and what was Mitt Romney's running mate? Paul Ryan? Paul Ryan. What a loser that guy was. And look, man, there was an idea that like Paul Ryan was going to be the future of the Republican Party at one point in time until Trump came along. There's Danky in the chat. Subscribe to D-Day Cobra 2. Danky's always clipping stuff out and putting it over there. Laughing Man says, Jeremy, skip my super chat. Always says it. Paul Ryan is garbage. Yes, absolutely. Paul Ryan's a damn rhino. Yes. Both parties are bought off. Well, yeah, I agree with that. But Trump's not bought off, and that's where the anti-Israel crowd is so retarded by saying Trump is controlled by Israel. That's where they lose credibility. Like, if you want to have some credibility, don't say stupid nonsense. And so yes, Israel 100% paying off politicians on both sides of the aisle, 1000%, no doubt about that. You're crazy if you don't think that's happening. That's just as obvious as. Like, that's just common sense at this point in time that Israel is paying off politicians on both sides. That is obvious. But it's not isolated to just Israel, just not. Yeah, but the narrative that Trump is bought off and paid for by Israel, controlled by Israel, that's where you lose all credibility. Zero credibility. Yes, like every country tries to do. Yes, 1000%. Coop says, you missed 3 of my supers and charged the tax. What the fuck? Coop? Not my fucking problem. Not my problem. I'm sorry, Coop. I appreciate the super chat. Aggie Orpha says, do you think the same people pushing the Holocaust wasn't real? Do you think it's the same people pushing the Holocaust wasn't real? And specifically, what do you mean by that, though? I don't know, like, in reference. Ort with $1. Is that Kada? Yikes. That is Kada. Wow. Jeremy is mean, says Raptors. Lapco says, born in 71, so I grew up with the suited moral majority Republican types, but realized the Dems were steering for racist and gay. My first 2 votes were for Ross Perot, only legit third party chance we had. Well, I mean, like I said, and thank you, Lapco. I mean, I truly believe that MAGA is the third party that everybody has been waiting for. MAGA is a third party, and the way that a third party can have an impact is to infiltrate one of the big 2. And that is what MAGA has done. MAGA is a third party, and MAGA has now, for the most part, not completely, but MAGA has taken over the Republican Party. That is your third party. For all of these people screaming at a third party, MAGA is the third party. And MAGA has done it the most intelligent way you can do it. The only way you can do it in the current system, to take over one of the big 2. And that's what has happened right there. Dan Vicious says, go to the 2-minute mark. Let's see. What is this? The 2-minute mark. Let's see. Okay. What is this, like some Rumble is so hard to like go through. Cause this Charlie Kirk. Okay. You want me to watch the 2-minute mark? Is this like one of those like Charlie Kirk was waking up to Israel or whatever? So this was in this was March 28th that you want me to watch. All right, let's see here.
And I want Jack actually to introduce this topic. I usually have Blake do it because Jack, you have been posting this, and I think I posted it too a lot because I believe it fundamentally. And it involves Candace Owens. It involves charges of anti-Semitism. It involves the Daily Wire. It involves Andrew Klavan. It involves Easter. It
involves thought crime.
Yes. I mean, it is one of the more interconnected topics we've ever covered on thought crime. Jack, who is king?
Jesus Christ.
Why is that statement all of a sudden popping off on the internet?
Well, so Christ is king is a statement that it's popping off right now because there's been a controversy attached to it regarding I think all of our mutual friend, Candace Owens.
I think that this was, if I'm not mistaken, this was the whole thing with Nick Fuentes and the Groypers trolling the people like the Daily Wire people, if I'm not mistaken. And then the Daily Wire people like Jeremy Boring got super offended over it, saying, oh, these people are saying it, they don't mean it or something. If I'm not mistaken, maybe I'm wrong about that, but I vaguely remember this story happening.
Who was recently departed from the Daily Wire. And we were not told that this was what predicated her leaving. But then, of course, so, as you mentioned, some of her former colleagues have come forward and they have essentially presented this and forwarded this as the reason for her leaving, her declaring Christ as king, but then also equating that with charges of anti-Semitism. Now, a lot of this comes along because of this argument that you'll hear people make saying that, well, if you're Christian, aren't we called to catechize the world? Aren't we called to go forward and spread the good news? Now, at Catholic Mass, that is the last thing we are told at the very end of the Mass, to go forth, specifically. To go forth, and I've always kind of viewed that as a mission statement. You're supposed to go forth and go and do that. But there are other people who will say that it is intolerant or anti-Semitic because, of course, the Jews do not accept Jesus as the Messiah. Now, if you're a Christian, this obviously is going to come into some tension. So you could on one hand deal with that by saying, well, we pray for Jews to accept Christ. Maybe if you know somebody, you can talk to them about it if they seem open to it. All the different ways that you can try to have these conversations. Live your life in a certain way where people might want to emulate that, and you say, well, it's because I have a Christ-centered life, and then you can use that to sort of open it up. But other people will say that it's actually anti-Semitic because you're not only are you not accepting of Jews as the way they are, but instead you're asserting some kind of sovereignty over Judaism. And a lot of this goes back, and Rabbi Shmuley, who was on Alex Jones and a few other shows recently, has been talking about this as well. They'll take it all the way back to the Pharisees. They'll take it back to the execution of Jesus, which of course tomorrow is Good Friday, is the commemoration of, all the way back when this very question came up. And I want everybody to remember, I want everyone to remember this, that when you look at a depiction of the crucifixion and it says INRI at the top of the cross,
It's a
that
mockery,
stands
Jesus,
for
King of the Jews. Yes.
Jesus the Nazarene, King of the Jews, INRI.
And they did it to mock him. It was not praising. It was, hey, look at this,
Right, it was written by the Romans.
That's
and
correct.
I believe in the biblical narrative, it actually says that it was written in Latin and Greek in the original. Typically, it was just
and
in
the
Latin
account is that they say Jesus, King of the Jews, and then it's that reportedly
I believe the chief priests come to Pilate and they say, you should change it to say, this man said, I am the king of the Jews. And he says, what I have written, which many.
The fact that this was a controversy in conservative circles is really insane because there is a level of identity politics on that side as well, 1000%. So I do remember when this controversy blew up. I remember people like, specifically, I remember Jeremy Boring crying about this specifically and being upset and being fake offended over it. I can't remember if Little Ben Shapiro got involved, but he probably did. And yeah, I mean, look, man, some people understand the internet and some people don't understand the internet. That's really what this comes down to. If you understand the internet, then, you know, you'll be fine. But if you're going to, you know, when you're going to, you know, get tied into basically people trolling you and trying to get a reaction out of you, and then you show that it bothers you, then yeah, like it's not going to work out very well for you. So, but yeah, I do remember this whole thing. So we're not going to watch all that, but let's see. But thank you. I appreciate it. Aggie Orpha says, referring to the Holocaust in my Latino community, I see them saying it never happened. The Jew playing victim, which I think is funny because Latino play victim hard. Yeah, I mean, I guess there's a group out there that are saying that type of stuff, but I don't pay attention to any of that shit. So, but with that said, we are going to end it there. 2 streams, and I did Friday Night Tights. So I did about 8 hours of streaming today. So it's good to be back. Yeah, 1 week away from our big announcement over on Friday Night Tights. I'm happy to be back, happy to make content. I'll probably go live again this weekend, and we'll be back rolling next week covering all the stuff that's going on. I think Trump is supposed to travel to Egypt on Sunday, if I'm not mistaken. And he's supposed to make his Middle East trip because of this peace deal. So we'll see what happens there, but I'll be here to cover all of it. So thank you so much. Laughing Man says streaming is the hardest job, Jeremy. It's so difficult. But thank you guys so much for being here, hanging out, and being so awesome in the chat as always. So thank you so much. Alabama plays tomorrow at 11 a.m. I'm going to be watching Bama. Okay. And I hope all of you will as well. You probably won't, but you know, Roll Tide. I don't have JD advanced, so I'll give you Sabaton as an outro. All right. Have a good night. We'll talk to all of you later. Roll Tide, everyone.